What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Vault. Today I'll be giving my review for the film that will essentially be kicking off Marvel's Phase 4, and that is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's just jump straight into it. This one opens with a quick recap of what happened to Hope's mother. We then rejoin Scott Lang, who is under house arrest after the events of Civil War. The cast for this one is probably the strongest aspect of this film. The hilarious Paul Rudd returns, once again joined by the beautiful Evangeline Lilly, who I felt really got to stretch her wings in this one. I just think that the two really complement each other in these films. And then one of my favourite actors from the first film returns, Michael Pena. I'm definitely saying that wrong. He just has brilliant comedic timing, and he honestly provides most of the humour for this film. And I was also really happy to see Walter Goggins involved, even though his character wasn't really needed. The story, unfortunately, isn't a great one. It's just really slow, meanders a lot throughout, and never really picks up pace, even when the action starts. There's a couple of subplots that weren't really needed and just left the film feeling quite overstuffed. The majority of the humour doesn't really hit either. Either the jokes just aren't really needed, or they're throwback jokes from the first film. Now, I'm not sure if I'm just getting bored with Marvel's brand of comedy. That's not to say the film isn't funny. It does get progressively funnier towards the end, even though the end is extremely rushed. Another thing that didn't sit quite right with me was the villain of the film. Ghost in the comics is a badass and is one of Marvel's more awesome villains. However, in this, just felt really weak and quite boring, if I'm honest. I mean, there wasn't really a main villain in this film. I mean, no strong contenders, at least. One thing this film does have going for it, at least, is the CGI and special effects. There's a truly beautiful moment where the Wasp, in small form, runs along the blade of a knife. It's pretty cool. There's not really much more I can say about this film. It just reached a certain point where I was just bored. The film is boring, and it feels like nothing of consequence really happens. I mean, it was so disappointing that I just kind of felt like I wouldn't want to watch a third instalment, if I'm honest. The only thing I really learned from this film was that I definitely need a box fort in my house with a box slide that goes around my house. That or a dog-sized pet ant. So there we have it, guys. Quite a short review for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Let's just get straight to the main questions. Would I recommend this film? I would recommend this film because I've spoken to people who enjoyed this film. Even though I didn't, they enjoyed it. And if you have been keeping up with Marvel's films over the last 10 years, then definitely go and watch this one. You will. There are certain aspects to enjoy, so I would recommend it. Obviously for those reasons. Question number 2. Does this film belong in the vault? And I feel like this film doesn't belong in the vault purely because of two main gripes I had with the film. The first gripe was obviously the story. The story just had no substance, it didn't really go anywhere. And the whole premise of the story was basically saving Hope's mother from a place called the Quantum Realm. And I just found that particular story just boring. I didn't care whether she was saved from this realm or not. There are so many other stories within the Ant-Man universe that they could have used and built upon, but they didn't. They went with that one instead. But add to that in the first mid-credit scene, that whole story is kind of wasted with the fact, that she fades away along with Hope and Hope's father. It just felt like a complete waste, of a film, really. And my second gripe was the villain. As I've said, Ghost is a fantastic villain in the comics. And I just kind of felt that with Thanos, that Marvel had finally kind of ended their streak of not being able to write villains correctly. Because Marvel has some fantastic villains, but they seem to kind of taken a step back after Thanos, and kind of given us this really kind of subpar villain who wasn't even really a villain. So for those two reasons, I'm not going to put this film in the vault. I honestly feel like this was one of Marvel's weakest, if not weakest, entry in the last 10 years that they've been putting out these films. So there's that little turd-shaped star, it's gone off. And Ant-Man and the Wasp has gone off somewhere. So we have it, guys. There is my review for Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you have seen it and you enjoyed it, let me know what you enjoyed about it down in the comments below. If you didn't enjoy it, again, let me know what you didn't enjoy. And if you like what I do here, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with your friends, your family, your pets, whatever. Until the next one, peace and love, my dudes.